Welcome back, guys. So today I want to talk about something I wanted for a long time, and I finally got one not too long ago, and that is the Hori Fighting Stick Multi. This thing to me is the most versatile retro console arcade stick ever. It can be used on the Sega Genesis or Mega Drive, Super Nintendo or Super Famicom, and the PC Engine. I bought this a while ago and it actually came with something that has baffled me. It came with something I did not expect, and I want to talk about that in a moment. So we're going to go ahead and unbox this, test it out, show that it works, see how things function, because there are a few little settings on this stick, and I think it's really nice. We'll tear it down as well. So it also comes with this little manual that is actually kind of handy, even though everything is in Japanese. Like, what am I looking at here? It took me a moment to really understand what the heck this thing was talking about, but there's different modes. So we'll get into that in a moment here. So here's the adapter for the PC Engine. This thing is like modular. It uses different adapters, different cables for each console. I like that. You just plug it into the console it's meant for, and not have to, have one cable with a bunch of adapters. Now, this is the thing I'm talking about that I didn't expect to get when I first bought this, and I never tested it. This looks like it attaches to the Sega Genesis adapter, and then it has a Sega Saturn port or plug on the opposite end. So my assumption is that this thing can be used on the Sega Saturn as well. I've been looking this up for ages. Was there an adapter that you could buy from Hori? Was there a third-party adapter? I'm not finding any information. When I look at the cable, it's got the same writing as the other cables, so my assumption is this came from Hori, that Saturn adapter, but it baffles me. We'll check that out in a moment here. So here we go. We do have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 button on the front here, so 6 face buttons, and then a select and start button at the top and a bunch of switches. This thing does have quite a bit of heft to it. It's a little heavy guy. There's a reason for that. There's the port on the back that the adapters plug into. Very nice. You got turbo sliders, all sorts of stuff. Now let's go ahead and open this up. I decided to skip boring you with the unscrewing action, and I did wind up breaking the posts that hold the arcade stick in there, but I fixed that later. I glued them back in. Now this is why this thing is so heavy. You got these big steel beams. There you go. That's the only part that I unmuted, was clanging them together. They are heavy. They do make this thing feel a little nicer. If they weren't in there, this thing would be sliding around when you're using it, so it does make sense. Here is the board for all the buttons and whatnot, and the sliders. The sliders very similar to how they function on like a PC Engine controller for the turbo and whatnot, making connection with certain pads on there. Everything is decent for the time, I think, and I've been using this quite a bit lately. I actually streamed not too long ago playing Super Nintendo, just fighting games, and I used this controller. I've been meaning to do this video for a while because I really do dig this thing. So there you go. Up at the top, there's that TR select switch, A and B. Now, I find that interesting. Like, for Super Nintendo, it alternates the button layout. As you see there, mode A and then mode B. And then for PC Engine, you have the 6-button or the 2-button layout if you need it. Some games will force you to have to do that. And then Sega Genesis, you got the 3-button and the 6-button mode there. So they thought of everything for the most part, I think. So testing this out on the Super Nintendo, I already know this thing works great. I've played a ton of games. I'm highlighting Street Fighter. All-time classic. I mean, who doesn't love Street Fighter? I mean, maybe some people out there, but yeah, doing the Hadoukis, the Dragon Pizunches, and the little, whatever kicks, the little spin kicks. Yeah, I don't know all the actual names for it, and if you correct me in the comments, don't be that guy. Like, come on now. But yeah, I dig using this stick for the Super Nintendo. Just showing how the turbo functioned there. You put it on hold and it just does it, right? Just holds the turbo. If you put there's a slow-mo mode, it just pauses the game over and over again. Kind of ridiculous, right? Now playing Sega Genesis here, oh my God. Putting this to the highest level there. I haven't played this in a long time. I typically would play the Super Nintendo port if I didn't have access to the arcade port, but testing this out in the Sega Genesis, or as you see, I do have the analog Mega SG rolling here. plays just fine. But man, playing this on this high level of hyper turbo, freaking ridiculous, man. This game shouldn't be played this way. It's not even playable to me, but it's pretty ridiculous. Funny because next I do try the PC Engine version of the game, and the game I couldn't play it after playing this for a moment. Like all my senses just disappeared. Like it was just gone from playing this in hyper mode, right? So swapping on over to the PC Engine, we are playing Street Fighter 2. Excellent port, excellent port. I know some people are going to ask about the little gaming monitor that I'm using in the background here. This is not available yet, but when it is available, I will be doing a review. So G-Story, they sent it to me for purpose of review, and we'll be doing a full-on thing. I got a lot of things to say about it, positive and negative, so stay tuned for that. But here you go, PC Engine, playing Street Fighter 2, just so damn slow compared to the Sega Genesis version on hyper mode. But it feels great. This controller feels wonderful to me. Sure, it's not Sanwa parts, but if I had this growing up, I mean, I didn't have all these consoles when I was a youngster, when I was a wee little pixel, a happy little pixel. You know, I had a Super Nintendo. I didn't have a Sega Genesis. I didn't have a PC Engine or even a TurboGrafx 16. I don't have a TurboGrafx 16 right now, but I would assume if you use the controller converter, PC Engine and TurboGrafx, it would work just fine. So here we go. I did plug that adapter into the Sega Genesis adapter, plugged it into the Saturn, and I was like, whoa, everything's working, right? Not exactly. So as you saw, I do have my Sega Saturn modded with a Terra Onion mode, and all my games loaded up off of micro SD card. Now, the controls work through that, hitting like the A button, going into the options and whatnot. But once I'm in an actual game, and this isn't the only game I tested, I just didn't want this to be a 30-minute video, but I did test like 6, 7 different games, not just fighters, but they just would not work. So I thought, okay, if I plug in, I don't like unplugging controllers and plugging them in while the console's on, but I figured screw it, for science, we're gonna do it. So I plugged in an original controller to start the game and see if like, okay, if that works, if I can get into the game. Maybe it's just the start button doesn't work, because I did wind up figuring out by playing like another game that said, hey, you don't have enough memory on the system to save, so we won't start the game. Reset and hold the L and R button, right, to get into the memory management. So I found out the select and start button up at the top, if you hold those two, those are the L and R button, and it'll take you to the menu to manage memory. But when I swap things around, original controller back to the Hori multi-stick, you know, the Fighting Stick Multi, no, doesn't work. I've even had a couple games tell me, plug in a compatible controller. So there's something here. It's a mystery. I can't find any information about this adapter. I mean, this was a Japanese exclusive, so maybe I gotta really dig in, but just doing some basic searches, I'm not finding any info on the Saturn adapter, so it really baffles me. If anybody's got information, let me know. But yes, I can highly recommend this stick for Super Nintendo, Genesis, PC Engine. That's what I bought it for, and I thought, hey, I got a bonus I can play it on the Saturn, but unfortunately not. But hey, it is what it is. Appreciate you guys watching. With that said, I will catch y'all next time. Peace out, bye-bye, and boom. Bye!